Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really good. We've got a special guest coming up later on the program. We're going to be talking with Liz Josefsberg, talking about big game recipes. So more people talking about that game coming up this weekend. Are we even going to watch it, you and I?
No.
I think we probably will.
No, I won't.
I'm going to talk about some of the commercials because I already have some of those in the news. In 1980, Saddam Hussein received a key to the city of Detroit. And look what happened to Detroit. Back in 1980, Detroit was still booming. So apparently, maybe they shouldn't have given him the key. Also, listen to this. When you restrict your diet, you're less able to resist impulse buys, according to a study from the Journal of Consumer Research. So saying when you're restricting your diet, you're actually probably going to hurt yourself more than help yourself. So no more diet restrictions. How's that sound?
Sounds great to me.
All right. Coming up, some special things happening on this Friday. We'll tell you all about it in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Friday, February the 3rd. Give Kids a Smile Day today. Just give them a smile. Big smile. Also, Fort Chaplain's Memorial Day today. National Women Physicians Day today. Today is also Wear Red Day, Work Naked Day, and Bubblegum Day, which coincidentally, if I was working naked, I would look a lot like bubblegum. Chewed bubblegum. Not good, anyway, at all. Hey, it's also the day the music died. For those of you that don't know what that is, this is the day that the airplane crashed. It had Buddy Holly and had the Big Bopper and Richie Valens. Now, the interesting thing is, my beautiful bride over here was actually related to the pilot of the airplane.
Yes.
And the airplane had a name, which was?
American Pie.
That's right. And there's a song, Bye Bye, Miss American Pie. Well, that was the name of the airplane. So today is the day the music died. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Hey, it's John from the John and Heidi Show. Join me and my wife Heidi at 80s in the Sand, a week-long 80s event this November 11th through the 18th in beautiful Punta Cana. That's in the Dominican Republic. You'll get to meet and listen to 80s bands like Loverboy, Starship, Howard Jones, and many more. Plus, meet 80s icons from the movies like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and several others. Get all of the details at 80sinthesand.com. Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person. That's 80sinthesand.com, promo code RADIO. You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. I think we might have actually talked about this once before. There's a lady who, her daughter passed away, and she carries her daughter's remains with her everywhere she goes.
Ashes, I hope.
Yeah, at first, when you first hear this, you're going, that is so weird. But when you listen to the whole story, so hang in there, those of you naysayers that think it's ridiculous. Wherever Lori Lemons goes, her dead daughter goes with her. That includes restaurants, visiting family, when she goes to court, wherever she goes. Her husband faced a murder trial, and the daughter was with her in court every step of the way. Her daughter, Nikita Faith Lemons, was 2.5 months old when her father, Milton Lee Lemons, shook her violently, and she died the next day. And her mother had her cremated and put her ashes in a special urn that's shaped like a teddy bear, which is, I think that sounds adorable. She said, I thought it was perfect. Now I have something to be able to hold on to. She can join me at parties. I can dress her up for holidays.
Okay, that's weird.
It's as soft as a baby almost, she added. My son has taken naps with her. I dress her up for the holidays. She's like still part of the family. She's just in bear form.
That's weird. I'm sorry, but that's weird.
Well, she said, what about her husband? Lori says he's seen the bear, but I'm not sure he realizes his daughter's ashes are inside of it. She said, I honestly don't know if he understands. She's planning to divorce the man. So that happened in Detroit. That's really sad that happened. And honestly, when it's all said and done, I think that's kind of a cool story because
I think it's a cool thing to have them put inside of a teddy bear, but I think it's weird to carry it around with you to parties and dress it up at Christmas. And that's weird.
I don't know.
That's just
to each their own. I think if the shoe was on the other foot, you would probably do that kind of thing.
I don't think I would.
Okay. Well, I hope we never find out. Coming up in a moment, we've got some more fun things to chat about. This one here, you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. Seems like every time we think we've located America's dumbest criminal, somebody else comes along and lowers the bar even more. At the current moment, I'm going to give the title to 18-year-old John Douglas Sheets and 17-year-old Misty Ann Holmes of Callaway, Florida. They actually called the police to report that somebody had stolen their quarter-pound stash of marijuana, and they added they needed that back because they had plans to sell it. Deputies arrested and charged the ditzy duo with possession and intent to deliver, plus possession of drug paraphernalia. So,
Not smart. I mean,
No.
it's one thing to say, hey, somebody stole my pot.
but
It's another thing to say entirely,
don't
I was
even-
planning on selling that to
Yeah.
somebody else.
you don't even say. Well, first of all, you don't even do that.
Well, no.
But then when you do, you don't call
But
the
it's
police. when
way
somebody,
better
yeah.
to get caught with just possession than it is with possession and intent to sell.
Yeah, I don't know. Heidi's got like a list over here. What am I going to try to get away with today?
Those charges are pretty severe.
Yeah, it's not good. Kids, that's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. Burger King. What's their little slogan? Have it your way. Well, it doesn't always work out that way. Kevin and Dana Gillis of Pembroke Pines, Florida, were at the drive-thru of their local BK when 18-year-old clerk Michael Perez snatched the money from Kevin's hand when he tried to hand Michael some extra change in exchange for bills. Michael said he did not want the extra change, but the bills instead, and would not accept change for payment of the meal. The men exchanged words, soon turned to a flame-broiled brawl. Michael climbed through the drive-thru window, into the customer's car, and punched the customer in the face. Kevin's passenger, Dana, said when she climbed out of the truck, Michael started after her, and then he was tackled by Kevin. Now there's going to be charges of burglary and battery. I'm not exactly sure why burglary. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, he stole the money out of his hand, right?
But he was paying for his food. I just don't understand. I don't know. I don't understand that. I think we all need to take a deep breath and just get along a little more. How's that sound? This is getting kind of weird. Coming up, we've got the Super Bowl this weekend. We're going to talk about at least one of the commercials coming up in a bit.
The scoop of the day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day, the United Kingdom. That's over in England, right? The UK?
Yes.
UK, okay. I just want to make
Yes,
sure.
it is.
They have a grocery chain there that shows off a new robot with hands soft enough to safely bag groceries. So, yeah.
That is so
Just-
weird.
Just when you thought, all of the jobs like that would be safe. Nah, not so much. So now there's a grocery store where a robot is bagging your groceries. That's not good. Anheuser-Busch has released their full version of their commercial that's going to air this Sunday about an immigrant who comes to this country following a dream, and there's people that are really freaking out about this. Now, here's the thing I want to say. I've got the video, by the way, on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. You can see the video. But if they're coming here legally, that's good.
Welcome.
Yeah, that's exactly. Our country is made. It's a country of immigrants.
Yep.
But it's also, Heidi, a country of laws.
That's
There you
right.
go. Hey, a New Zealand bride. Now, that's a different country. That's on the other side of the world. It's right by Australia, by the way. New Zealand bride was left devastated and humiliated after her husband-to-be ditched her the night before their wedding. Vanessa, the jilted bride, said her fiancé left the resort the night before and their $40,000 wedding
Whoa.
without telling anybody and did not return. Despite her own grief, she went ahead with the wedding party. She's now focused on getting her life back on track. She's selling her pink diamond engagement ring valued at more than $38,000 and her $6,000 unused wedding dress.
Whoa.
So,
Oh.
yeah, $40,000 wedding, and the ring was $38,000 and the dress was $6,000. That already adds up to more than $40,000. So somebody's not-
$38,000 ring.
for a ring. What is it? You're supposed to spend how much? 3 weeks of your pay? No,
that's what you did.
No, went to one of those quarter machines and click, click, click. Here's the little plastic egg.
That was 3 weeks' salary.
Will you marry me? Hey, it's that time of year again. Time to warn you that if we all go to the bathroom at the same time this Sunday, it could be bad for the plumbing in your home. Not necessarily your home, but the sewage system for the community you live in. It's called the halftime flush. And, Heidi, according to legend, 100 million people will be flushing at the same time this Sunday. That means big problems for the pipes. The only thing is, the story isn't true. Millions take breaks and head for the bathroom all at halftime, but not everybody's doing their business at the same time. So they're saying it's not as big a deal as maybe some people are saying. And if you read that on the internet, don't get too worried about it. I'm still going to wait. If it's yellow, just let it mellow. No?
If it's brown, flush it down.
Hey, sometimes... This is way too much info today. Sorry. An asteroid came really close to Earth this Sunday. The problem was the asteroid passed the Earth, and it was... they're difficult to spot. Asteroid 2017 BH30 was discovered Sunday, just hours before it crept close by. When they say close by, it was 40,000 miles away. But it was closer than the moon. The asteroid is estimated to be between 15 and 32 feet in length. So they're saying that it cruised right up, it snuck up on us, and it passed by only 40,000 miles away. That sounds plenty far away to me. But apparently
I think it's plenty close.
Yeah, apparently it's close enough. And we've got one final story we're going to get to here. 2 Illinois men are arrested after a chase that started in Des Moines, Iowa at about 1:30 on Monday. An officer attempting to pull over an F-150 truck for equipment violation. The driver refused to pull over. They said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep going. And they drove for just a short while. It ended 40 miles later when the truck ran out of gas.
Wow.
How dumb would you feel? Sorry, officer. Did you need something?
I didn't even see you there.
Didn't see you guys back there for the last 40 miles.
Thank goodness you showed up. I just ran out of gas.
You have a gas can in here by chance? All right, we got some fun stuff on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Radio advertising works. When it's done right, it works even better. There are many things you can do to get a better response, and shouting sale really isn't the best thing, believe it or not. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? If you're trying to get people to remember your company, consider a jingle. We work with one of the very best jingle companies in the business, and we'd love to use music to help you grow your company. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us today, certified personal trainer and weight loss expert Liz Josefsberg. Liz, how are you today?
I'm so well. Nice to be here.
Well, we're excited to visit with you. I know this weekend we've got this big game coming up, so we're going to talk about some recipe ideas. Also going to talk about some of these celebrities that you work with to help with their weight loss goals. And also maybe even tell people about some of the books that you have. So many things to talk about, but let's start with the big game this week. What are some recipes that we can put out so we don't feel bad after the big game?
Absolutely. I do. I have some wonderful ideas for you guys to keep it healthy. And I'm always laughing. You can imagine being a weight loss expert when I get invited over to a party. Everyone's always worried about what I'm going to bring. So I try to make these dishes really delicious so they don't even know that they're actually lower calorie and lower fat. So I'm here today, and I actually have partnered with Bolthouse Farms, which I have created some recipes, and they are going to help you sort of stay on track. This is a really hard time of year to stay on track. You kind of head out of the gate with the best intentions and can get a little bit off track by about the 3rd week of January. So we're starting to worry about our cravings, and we're starting to get bored with what we eat. So if you are starting to crave salty things and want to bring something a little healthier to that game, I've got some amazing baked carrot fries.
Ooh.
And I've actually, you just slice up a carrot and you toss it in some olive oil and bake it up. And these are delicious. Even my kids eat these all the time.
You know, I've never had carrot fries, but I'm glad you sent the recipe. I've got them posted on our Facebook page. I'm going to have to talk Heidi into trying some carrot fries with me. This sounds really yummy.
Wonderful. wonderful. Well, and the reason I love these is, they really they can kind of take care of that craving for French fries, but they're so much healthier. And then you can pair them up with any kind of different dipping sauce. So you could put it out with a ranch, you could put it out with a blue cheese, you could put it out with a balsamic, and it's totally different. And by sort of, keeping it interesting, you're going to stay the course, right, a lot better than if you're bored and the food doesn't taste great.
That's awesome.
I also brought a baked wing recipe along. So these are actually my famous baked wings, and I have a secret. I like to actually marinate my wings in ranch dressing before I cook them.
Oh, yeah.
So this kind of gets them to be really tender and juicy on the inside, but crisp up really nicely on the outside. So I put them in a Ziploc bag, and I often will use like a classic ranch. I love the Bolthouse Farms classic ranch because it's actually a yogurt-based dressing. So that seems to help to really juicy and tender, make it really juicy and tender, and then very crispy on the outside. And then I toss them with the wing sauce, bake them up, and they're delicious. I swear people have no idea that they're having something that's healthier for them.
And I have this recipe on our Facebook page as well, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show, to make it really easy for you. Again, visiting with Liz Josefsberg, a health and wellness weight loss expert, and she's helped some celebrities lose weight as well. Jennifer Hudson, let's talk a little bit about her story.
And that was an amazing time, I think, for both of us working together, and she is just a phenomenal person and works very hard at everything that she does. And I think she's one of those people that really inspired truly inspired millions of people to get healthier. And it's funny that we're talking about the baked wings. That is a huge thing for her. She loves baked wings, and that was a big part of her weight loss, was to learn how to make things that were, lower in calories, lower in fat, just a little bit healthier, but keeping it really, fun and never getting bored and trying new things. So, that was a super, super time working with her.
In addition to Jennifer Hudson, the celebrity list goes on and on. People that you've worked with, like Jessica Simpson, helped her lose weight a couple of times after she had her babies. Also, clients like Charles Barkley and Katie Couric and Susie Orman. I mean, the list just goes on and on. How different is it when you're working with these guys compared to when it's just Mike from up the street, or is it kind of the same?
It's absolutely exactly the same. I think every single person is very, very individual, and you have to really face each person as an individual and look at their lives. Because even if you look at the different celebrities I've helped and the thousands of people that I've helped, every single one of them is an individual with different challenges and different, different things that they need to face and different bad habits that they've developed over time. So, it was really very similar. I believe that everybody has to kind of look at what the challenges are in their own life and make sure that weight loss is fun, and you can keep it fun, and you can keep it interesting.
And if you keep it fun and interesting, it's going to be a whole lot easier.
Absolutely. So, again, I'm sort of hoping that you all can bust through this part of the year that gets really difficult. Research is saying now that up to a third of people actually have dropped their healthy resolutions by about 2 weeks in. So I'm hoping some of these recipes that I'm sharing with you, I've got some salty snacks. I actually have a sweet. If you're craving sweets, there's a really hot thing going on right now that are called mug cakes, and you make individual little cakes in a mug, which keeps them very individual portion size, so it keeps you from going overboard. And you can make them one at a time, or you can make a bunch at a time. So, again, if you're going to the game, if you're going to a party, and you want to bring something that's a little bit healthier, a little bit lower in calories, I've got a carrot mug cake recipe that you can take a look at, and it's super easy, and you just mix the ingredients up in a mug. We're using carrot juice instead of actual carrots to give it the flavor, because I just want it to be easy for you guys, delicious, and the right portion size. I think that's a big piece of this for people.
It is.
So I want you eating good food, delicious food, but food that is just a little bit healthier.
Liz, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. This has been a whole lot of fun to visit and learn quite a bit. And now we've got some healthy recipes for the big game this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was great to be here.
Again, our guest today has been Liz Josefsberg, a health and wellness and weight loss expert. Over 15 years in the industry, she's worked with some big names like the folks we've talked about, the celebrities, Charles Barkley, Katie Couric. And you can read her books. I've got a link to those on our Facebook page. And I've got all of the recipes we talked about and even a few we didn't talk about on our Facebook page as well. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? No one knows your loved ones better than you do, and no one knows senior living better than A Place for Mom. They've helped thousands of families find the right place for their loved ones. The Senior Living Advisors at A Place for Mom partner with thousands of families every month, listening and offering local knowledge and advice to help find the best senior living communities across the country. Call 1-800-471-5173. That's 1-800-471-5173.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Says right here, according to this, Angelina Jolie recently offered criticism of main squeeze Brad Pitt's wardrobe. They're not together anymore, are they?
No, they're not.
I wonder how old that thing is. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
If a shark stops swimming, it will sink.
I knew that because if they stop swimming, they cannot breathe.
Yeah. Thank you, Shark Week. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The cooking term julienne describes foods that have been cut into thin matchstick strips, like julienne fries.
I
don't
knew
know
that.
why they're called julienne. I'm assuming it's after somebody named Julienne.
Somebody skinny.
Probably. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
According to the math experts, a deck of playing cards must be shuffled at least how many times to adequately randomize the cards?
4.
7. You were so close. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In Maine, a school district caused considerable controversy when they voted to make birth control pills and patches available to middle school students
Yikes.
without parental notification.
Yeah,
That's maybe a bit much.
Yeah.
Couple of fun facts for you right there on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to radiolottopool.com and join today. Again, that website is radiolottopool.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Laziness could extend your lifespan, Heidi. So,
no.
for all of you nose to the grindstone people out there, they're saying maybe not. A couch potato lifestyle free of stress is the way to go. Medical researcher Peter Axt and Michaela Axt Gatterman, I'm assuming those two are probably married, maybe, in their book, The Joy of Laziness, Why Life is Better, Slower, and How to Get There, the authors prove that goofing off more and exercising less will make you smarter, younger looking, less cranky, and more lovable.
I don't think so.
The German doctors developed a 5-step plan to lazy up and lengthen your lifespan. You ready for these 5 steps?
Sure.
Let's just do 1 or 2, because 5 steps sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? No, we'll do them all. Number 1, forget long-distance running. It says marathon athletes often die at early ages from heart attacks. Instead, switch to a brisk but easy stroll several times a week to boost your circulation. Next, if you live in a northern climate, think about moving south where warmer weather and
There you
sunshine
go.
will dispel your depression and alleviate your stress.
Now, that I agree with.
How about this one? Sleep in whenever possible. Long hours in bed pump up your immune system so your body can fight viruses and diseases. Next step is number 4, combat the aging process by slowing down your metabolism with an occasional daily fast. Even digesting food can take a lot out of you, they say. And the last step, number 5, relax your brain by hanging out for a day of doing absolutely nothing more strenuous than channel surfing. And they say do this as often as possible. That's all good and great there, Dr. Axt and Dr. Axt, but, we didn't write a book, so how are we going to make a living? I guess we need to write a book, how my new 5 steps to extending my lifespan is working out so far. Maybe that'll work. Probably not. Coming up, 15 high school kids in the news. We'll tell you why after this.
John and Heidi.
Only 2 in 10 Americans say they're ready for the unthinkable. Are you ready for a natural disaster? What would happen if you were not able to go out to get food for your family during extreme weather? How long would you be okay without power and without access to get more food? Wise Company has the ultimate emergency preparedness pack with enough emergency food kits for a week, or upgrade to be prepared for a month or longer. Call toll-free 888-552-3759. It pays to be prepared. Learn more at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
15 high school kids are getting quite possibly the uncoolest form of punishment a teenager could get. They have to hang out with their parents. Officials at Paul V. Monroe High School in New York punished 15 kids for having food fights in the cafeteria. Now, instead of sending them home or giving them a week's suspension, the students said, no, we're going to have your parents come and eat lunch with you, and the parents agreed to it. The Education Authority is also hiring 4 lunch monitors to help stop the food fights as well. How crazy would it be if, when these 15 students had their parents there, if one of their parents started a food fight?
Well, they learned it from somebody.
I was going to say, it's got to come from somewhere. So one of these kids, they're sitting there with mom and dad, and mom stands up on the table, food fight.
Our kids asked us all the time to come and have lunch with them.
I know. Well,
even in high school.
Not our daughter. She doesn't want us to hang out with her.
She's asked me.
She's asked you to go to high school and hang out with her?
To go to lunch, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been invited to go hang out with her at lunch. As a matter of fact, when we do go places, she's like, how about you walk on the other side of the hall and pretend like you don't know me? Okay. Coming up, we've got police in Germany working on something. We'll tell you what that's all about in a bit.
John and Heidi.
German police were trying to talk a woman out of suicide. In the midst of their conversation, they found out she was a dog lover, so they had someone rush to a nearby animal shelter, find the cutest, cuddliest puppy they had, and took it back to the clinic where this lady had herself barricaded. Sure enough, she dropped her weapon to pick up the dog. The dog stopped her from committing suicide. So, what kind of hero's reward does our super dog get? The dog was sent back to the shelter to wait for adoption or destruction. How sad is that? So you'd think that somebody would have adopted the cute little dog. They could have.
I think maybe the suicidal lady would have taken it home.
Yeah, I don't know that she necessarily got to go home. I'm not sure. It doesn't say where she went, but the psychiatric clinic is in the story. So I'm assuming maybe, I don't know, visiting hours for puppies probably don't last all night. But I think it's sad that the poor little dog had to go back. Hey, I did my job. I was here. I was cute. It worked. Why am I going back? That's not fair.
If he was the cutest, cuddliest little puppy, I'm sure he got adopted.
True. Absolutely true. That's why when we adopted a puppy a while back, we got the ugliest dog in the store.
We chose the ugliest one that was there.
It was bad. We're like, that busted up ugly thing, we'll take that one.
It was so bad that it made us laugh, so we took it. We're like, we'll
adorable.
take it. That's really hideous.
It is. Coming up, we've got a fun story here about a kid who parked his bike in the wrong spot. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Do you shop online? Do you like to save money? Save money with Honey. Let me explain. Honey is a really smart tool that's free to use. I'm not really an online shopper. I get as many things locally as possible, but there are some things you can only buy online. So when I heard about Honey, I thought, what the heck? It's free. I'll give it a shot. The very first time I used it was for a domain name. It's usually $12.99. Honey searched the internet and found me a discount code, so I bought it from the same exact website for just 99 cents. So I saved $12. It's absolutely free, so what do you have to lose? Check it out at SaveMoneyWithHoney.com. Salem, Oregon is where we're going to head right now. 13-year-old Cody Young learned a lesson the hard way. You don't want to park your bicycle inside a Goodwill store. Okay. There was no lock on the bike. Before he knew what happened, his black BMX was gone. No, it wasn't stolen. It was sold for $6.99.
Oh, no. The Goodwill accidentally sold his bike.
Fortunately, the buyer later saw a story about the problem in the paper and returned the bike for his Goodwill, by the way. Goodwill is giving him a $100 certificate from the store, which is cool.
Yeah.
The policy at Goodwill is, if it's on the floor, it's for sale. Goodwill spokesperson Dale Emanuel said a janitor once left a bucket and a mop on the floor when they were tidying things up, and they came back in to get the bucket and the mop, and it was gone. Somebody bought it. That is funny. I was kind of mopping the floor. Do you know where my mop went? Yeah, we sold that. So their policy is, if you leave it here, we're going to sell it. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
so, Why would he have brought his bicycle inside the store?
Maybe he was afraid of it getting stolen if he left it outside.
But you'd think you would have said something to somebody.
Yeah,
you don't
I don't
just
know.
roll a bicycle and, I don't know. Maybe you do. I don't know. I've never done that. But then again, I don't ride a bicycle a whole lot. So that's why. I've never parked my car inside. Never done that.
No, that would be a little difficult to do.
That would be a little difficult to do. Coming up in a moment, we've got some good news we're going to get to. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. We kind of talked a little bit about the big game earlier, and we've already discussed this, and Heidi says we're not watching. You don't think we will?
I'm just not interested.
I'll bet you $10 we watch at least a little bit of it.
The commercials are horrible anymore. They're not good. So, and that was the only reason I ever watched it was for the funny commercials. I'm not going to. You can do whatever you like. I bet I don't.
I'll bet we do. I mean, now if I got a wager, I have to make her go. I have to kind of talk her into it somehow.
You certainly can.
All right. We've got some good news on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
For decades, health officials have battled malaria with insecticides, bed nets, and drugs. Now, scientists say there might be a potent new tool to fight the deadly mosquito-borne disease, the stench of human feet. Yeah, that's why this is such good news, because, hey, I'm safe. In a laboratory study, researchers found that mosquitoes infected with tropical disease were more attracted to human odors from a dirty sock than those that didn't carry malaria. Insects carrying malaria parasites were 3 times more likely to be drawn to... Wait a minute.
That means they're attracted to the smell
stockings.
of dirty... Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Then this is not good news. This is not good news at all. Battle malaria with insecticides, bed nets. Now they're saying a new tool to fight the disease could be human feet. So that is kind of a dumb way to say it.
It is.
They tricked me into reading this story thinking it was good news. Hey, I'm sorry. Now I kind of feel like I ripped you off on your
Not good news for you.
No.
I'm okay. My feet don't stink.
I was going to say this. I don't get bit by mosquitoes hardly at all. You do a bunch.
But it says the malaria ones
I know.
go after the stinky, so
I'm fine unless, of course, the mosquito has malaria.
That's right.
Then in that case...
then those are the ones that are going to bite you.
Which are the ones I really don't want to bite me. Man. Just when you thought there was finally some good news for us people with stinky feet. Sorry, stinky feet people. We're not doing good. The good news is the regular, harmless mosquitoes are going to leave us alone. It's only those deadly malaria mosquitoes.
The harmless ones will still bite me. I get bit all the time.
That's not good stuff. All right. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. We've got a special guest joining us right now. We got this big game coming up this Sunday, and there's a lot of folks going to be betting on that. We've got a guy that knows a little something about a little something there. We've got Joe Gagliano, and he's got a book called No Gray Areas, and we're going to chat with him right now. How you doing, sir?
John, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Now, the book No Gray Areas, that says here, kind of all started out with a super simple bowl square. Now, what does a super simple bowl square mean? What is that?
Well, the Super Bowl squares are the boxes with 100 squares on them and that people make up, office pools make up, and they go ahead and put digits across the vertical side and the horizontal side, and from 0 to 9, and if the scores in the end of the quarter or the end of the game, the final score of the game, end up matching the digit that's in that square, you win a portion or all of the pool that's collected. Very cool. And then it says here, you orchestrated the Arizona State point shaving scandal. What is that? It was in 1993, 1994. And John, still to this day, it's, and I say this not in a braggadocious way at all, because I am not proud of it, but yet I'm not embarrassed by it either. I finally wrote the book after a ton of questions and press and speculations and stories and rumors and innuendos and all that stuff, I finally wrote the book just to put the truth out there. And it's still one of the largest point shaving scandals in history. In 1993-94, I ended up orchestrating and financing and fixing the outcome of 4 college basketball games.
Oh wow, that's no simple undertaking right there, is it?
No, it was a massive undertaking, and it was a little bit easier because technology wasn't where it is today. Back in 93-94 when we did it, but the stars just lined up. I had an all-star, absolute stud point guard on the ASU basketball team, and I had the shooting guard on the basketball team, and the main player, the guy that really pretty much orchestrated it on the court, was a guy by the name of Steven Headache Smith. And he dictated the whole team for Coach Bill Frieder in that day, and was able to dictate the outcome.
Wow. So you don't have any inside guys on the game this weekend, do you?
No, I don't. I've learned to stay far away from that. I've been rehabilitated, as the government would want to say.
That is fantastic. Now, for people who are just going to have some fun this weekend, betting on their team against their friends, do you have any tips for people that are just doing this, just for fun?
I think the key tip there, John, is just to make sure you do it for fun. When people get in and make bets and play with things they don't have, and play with the rent money and play with the car payment money and stuff like that, it gets to be just taken way out of hand. And when people start betting exotic bets, and I say exotic bets like which player on the field is going to score the first touchdown, or which running back is going to catch the first pass over 10 yards, and that just gets to be silly.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a bet, the big thing that I've learned with gambling and sports gambling is just try to increase the odds in your favor as best as you can. And in order to do that on a game like the Super Bowl, you could bet it 4 different ways. You could bet the favorite, or you could bet the underdog, which at this case, the favorite would be New England, the underdog would be Atlanta, or you could bet over the total or under the total. Any one of those 4 picks is going to give you a 50-50 proposition of winning. I mean, you're also better off probably betting the coin flip, because you got heads or tails coming out of the coin flip. All the other nonsense, the propositions and exotic bets that they want to put on that game, my advice would be for people to stay away from, because they've got sucker bet written all over it.
A guest right now, Joe Gagliano, he's literally written the book on this. We're talking about No Gray Areas. That's the name of his book. How long has this book been out, sir?
I released the book last year in January, and did a lot of press and did a lot of work for it. And then unfortunately, John, the Bureau of Prisons didn't like it very much. And the Bureau of Prisons kind of shut me down midstream during our rollout and our launch. So I had to get them off my back, and now we're releasing it again, and the movie's coming out shortly. We just finished the script, and in the final stages of working with the studio to finalize the contracts, and the movie's coming out shortly, and doing a bunch of documentaries for some stations out there as well. So, just out there and putting the message out there for the book, and that's why I'm making the rounds with these interviews.
That's awesome. Now, the nice thing is, with this, I know you did something wrong, and you did something wrong back in the 90s, and it sounds like you've learned your lesson from all of that, and now you're trying to help people. One of the things that I read here is you're saying that sometimes, when it comes to betting, beginner's luck, as everybody likes to call it, can really be more like beginner's curse, can't it?
Oh, without a doubt, because, what happens is, when you hit that hot streak early on, you almost get that quasi-sense of infallibility. It's never going to get bad. It's never going to go bad. And boy, it certainly turned out to be a curse for me early on. When I was at on the floor of the Chicago Board of Trade early on is when I learned how to gamble, and looked up to all those guys on the trading floor that were gamblers. And I remember the first couple, 3-4 weeks where I started betting sports. I mean, John, I couldn't lose. I don't know if it was just ignorance or just beginner's luck or what it was. I just couldn't lose. I remember that feeling just sticking with me. That feeling sticking with you. And so even when you go on a mini losing streak, you still remember, you still flash back to when you couldn't lose, and you said, "Oh, I'm going to win the next game." And then it just, they say when it rains, it pours, and it certainly pours when it goes bad with gambling.
Well, do you have any advice for somebody that maybe thinks they have a family member that has an issue with this right now?
Well, I just try to get it under control. There's a lot of good outreach organizations out there, a lot of good groups that can counsel and mentor and try to give rhyme to reason and what's going on inside that person's head to get it under control. But boy, I'll tell you what, John, at least with a drug addiction or some type of addiction like that, the end is always there, because there's always, and I hate to sound kind of goofy, but I mean, death is the ultimate end for that. But with gambling, it's always, it's habitual. It's never going to end, because you're always going to find ways to create money or find money or deceive the system and go out there and try to get your fix on. So, in terms of ways for people to fix it, there's just a lot of good organizations out there. I've been blessed, John. I've never had to go down that route. I've never considered myself a gambling addict, but yet I am someone that knows a boatload about sports gambling, and probably, I tell you, John, I can go toe-to-toe with anyone about sports gambling.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us, and I know there's a lot of folks that are excited about the big game this weekend, and folks, if you're making bets on the game, got a couple of little tips out of the program here today. So hopefully they'll not bet the mortgage, as you said, because that's a bad idea. But have some fun with it if you're going to do that, and make sure you keep it under control, correct?
That sounds good. And John, if I had to pick a side, I'd pick New England. And if I had to pick a total, I'd pick the under.
There you go. That sounds like
you go.
Some good advice right there. Well, thank you again, Joe. You have a great day.
Hey, John, you too. Take care.
Again, Joe Gagliano, and he is the author of a book. It's a tell-all memoir about what happened with him back in the early 90s. The book is called No Gray Areas. It is available now. Good luck to all of you making little wagers on the game this weekend. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.